everybody, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. And today we are going to be doing, that's my approximation of a drum roll, a book haul. Crowd goes wild. I love a book haul. I love book shopping. And this is a bit of a collective haul. I've been to let me pick up I've been to Waterstones a bit. So I work in London and I cannot resist going to the Waterstones in Piccadilly and the Hatchards on Piccadilly as well. They always have amazing books. And then obviously my local Brighton bookstores have amazing books. But I've got a few, so I thought I would share a bit of a book haul with you. These are all, as it's me, I think they're mainly horror. They might all be horror. I'm not sure, but we'll get into it. The first one. I am beyond excited about this. So, ta-da! Right, I'm going to put that down. Right, the first one. Sorry, that probably made you sick. This is Paul Tremblay's new book, Horror Movie. Now, the reason I am beyond excited about this is twofold. One is Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay is one of my favourite books. Caveat, I will have to admit that all of the other, I've read probably all of the Paul Tremblay books by now, most of them. They weren't as great, to me, in my opinion, as Head Full of Ghosts. But I have very high hopes for this one. So this one basically incorporates my favourite trope, which is found footage, horror movie, kind of almost like Blair Witchy within the story. So it basically, the basic premise of the story is that there was this film made in, also, again, side note, 1993, we're back to the 90s, I love it, in 1993, and these filmmakers made this film, and I think only like only 3 of the film scenes were ever released. So we're now in current time, and Hollywood studio wants to basically resurrect this film, and they asked one of the only like surviving people that had anything to do with this film to kind of go in and do it again. And you can imagine that nightmare ensues, and just by sort of flicking through it, I can see that we've got things like what looks like the actual script in here as well, which I love kind of mixed media, mixed narrative, like postscripts, things like that in books as well. Also, again, side note, I was so excited that when I went onto the Waterstones website, they didn't have any. Amazon was going to take like forever. I literally couldn't find it. And then I clicked the following day and they had some, and I quickly went, click, ran at my lunch break and got one. And by the time I got there, the lady at Waterstones was like, we had a handful of them in and they're literally all gone. They went in minutes. So people were keen. This is also signed with bonus content, so I'm very excited. It's got sprayed edges. I love it. This gorgeous red cover. So like I said, I am beyond excited. Cannot wait to start this. I've also got Silvia Morena Garcia's Silver Nitrate. There's a few others that I want to read. I want to reread Night Film, which was one that I absolutely loved, and then I'm going to kind of do a whole video on the sort of horror movie podcasty type thing within horror books. So I'm clearly beyond excited about that one. Right, let's dive in. What else have we got? I can't remember. We're just... this is the new Eliza Clark. So this is Penance, Eliza Clark. Eliza Clark wrote Boy Parts, which is still on my list to read. Everybody raves about it. Sounds amazing. Need to read it. But this one I really loved. Also a cool cover. I love it. And this is actually raised. So this like feels like someone's taken a pen to that person's head. So what's this one about? Page Turner, The Independent. It's been nearly a decade since the horrifying murder of 16-year-old Joanne Wilson, which rocked the small seaside town of Crow-on-Sea. That is a great name for a seaside town. Now journalist Alex Z. Corelli has constructed what he claims is a definitive account of the crime. It's a riveting snapshot of lives scarred by tragedy and the town left in turmoil. The only question is, how much of the story is true? So, from what I've heard, it's kind of like a bit of an unreliable narrator bit in this, which I love. I think like a Girl on a Train, Paul Hawkins does it really well, where you're kind of like, is this true? Are you just off your head? You know, that kind of thing. I love that. So this just sounds fantastic. And like I said, Boy Parts is also on my list of books to get and read. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one. Right, next. Okay, so it's kind of horror thriller. So the next one is Lisa Jewell. So none of this is true. So you can see I was having a bit of a moment with the whole unreliable narrator thing. I mean, it's one of my favorite things anyway in sort of thrillers and mysteries. So this one is two very different women who meet by chance in a restaurant and discover they are birthday twins. Very nice. A few days later, they meet again. Alex is a podcaster. Side note, podcasting. And Josie, love that, persuades her to feature her on her new series. She tells Alex, on the cusp of great changes in her life. This is why I had to read this book. Apparently I'm Josie. Alex agrees to do a trial interview with Josie. Josie's past appears to be strange and complicated, but although Alex finds her unsettling, she can't quite resist the temptation to keep digging and keep recording. It soon becomes apparent that Josie's been hiding some very dark secrets, and before Alex knows it, Josie has inveigled, that's a weird word, her way into Alex's life and into her home. So that just sounds fantastic. Again, I think that the whole thing of like, is what she's saying true? Is it reliable? Yeah, this sounds wonderfully messed up. And I've read a couple of Lisa Jewell books, love them. So really excited about that. Right, next. Okay. Oh my god. Okay. This cover. Look at this cover. I had to get this when I saw the cover on the table. I just couldn't resist. So this is Maeve Fly, and on the front it says, "This is gory and brutal and beautiful and painful and terrifying and pure delight," by Stephen Graham Jones. So I mean, that's kind of all I needed to know. So this is by CJ Lead, and it says, "By day." Oh yeah. That she's a female serial killer. Again, side note, God, it's hot today. Female serial killers, women doing nasty things. Oh, I love it. Anyway, by day, Mayfly works at the happiest place in the world as every child's favorite ice princess. I think she's the Frozen princess, like a Disney, which is brilliant. By the neon lights glow of the Sunset Strip, Maeve haunts the bars and drink in one hand and a book in the other, imitating her misanthropic literary heroes. So she kind of so from some of the reviews I've seen about this is, yeah, she's really addicted into books, and she kind of almost like pretends to be her favorite literary heroes. But when Gideon Green, her best friend's brother, moves to town, he awakens something dangerous within her, and the world she knows suddenly shifts beneath her feet. Untethered, Maeve ditches her disconnected act and tries on a new persona, a bolder, bloodier one. Inspired by the pages of American Psycho, to step aside Patrick Brennan, it's Maeve's turn with the knife. So female American Psycho. I just like literally immediately want to read this. Also, there's an eyeball on the side. Oh, so good. That sounds so good. So I'm very excited. I dropped my bag. I got so excited. My bag went flying. Oh, okay. So the next one, The Bad Ones by Melissa Albert. Again, how gorgeous is that cover? Love this cover. Side note again, Melissa Albert is one of my favorite authors. The Hazelwood, spectacular. At Crooked Hearts, amazing. I think what I'll do is I'll also do a Melissa Albert like video, but this is her new one. So excited to read this. So I was listening to, was it Genre Junkies, the podcast? Very good, by the way. And they were talking about this. So I listened to the kind of the non-spoiler bit of it, and it just sounds incredible. So in a single winter's night, 4 people vanish without a trace across a small town. Nora's best friend Becca is one of the lost. Determined to find her, Nora discovers a string of coded messages Becca has left. These clues point to another missing girl 30 years prior and a sinister urban legend, a goddess figure who played an eerie role in Nora and Becca's own childhood games. As Nora unravels the mystery, it's soon clear there are dark forces at work in her town, and they'll stop at nothing to keep the secrets buried deep. again, that sounds spectacular. But also what I loved when I was listening to the podcast, they were saying one of the main characters is a photographer. So there's a lot of, which again, I love, which there's a lot of that in there. And they were just basically saying that this is so beautifully written and such a spectacular ride, which I can imagine it being Melissa Elbert. Cannot wait. We're almost there, folks. We got two more. Okay, what do we got? I'll get them both out, sort of bend over again. So the next one is When Ghosts Call Us Home by Katya de Becerra. Oh, sorry, I murdered that. There we go. Great cover as well. So this is YA. So this was me just perusing the YA section, and it sounded really good. So the house was her prison. When Sophie Galich was 12, she starred in her sister Layla's amateur horror film, The Million, set in the old Californian house on the coast. We're going to have to side note again. And I remember why I picked it up. I literally read that about, starring in the old horror movie and went, yep, this one's for me. And then it says, the movie inspired a cult. If there were, demons singing in the background, it would literally be that. 5 years later, Layla has disappeared, and Sophie is plagued by nightmares that are now at the now infamous house. The truth is better left buried. Determined to find her sister, Sophie must return to the very place where it all began. Need I say more? And then the last one is that. And again, this was purely a title and cover by, sorry, it's very shiny, but it's called Young Gothic. The Monsters Aren't Just in Their Heads by M.A. Bennett. I loved this cover. I loved the title. I kind of saw it on the bookshelf and it said Young Gothic. And I was like, yes. So you've heard of Frankenstein's monster. You've heard of Dracula. But have you heard of the Villa Diodati? Probably said that wrong in my worst Italian accent. My ancestors are rolling in their collective graves. So basically, the synopsis. Again, the back, look at that, like Dracula's, this just looks so good. So, get very excited. 4 strangers are invited to spend an unforgettable summer at the birthplace of all things Gothic. The Villa Diodati is a beautiful, isolated lakeside residence, but it hides a dark heart. Eve, Griffin, Hal, and Wren, also fabulous names, are about to come face to face with their worst fears, deadly secrets and monsters they thought only existed in their minds. And when one of the villa's guests is found dead, each will become a suspect in a gruesome murder. It was supposed to be the trip of a lifetime, but when the stuff of nightmares becomes their reality, will they make it out alive? Just fabulous, right? Again, I love most claustrophobic house, haunting on the hill type of people stuck in a house. And then side note, another one that I want to read is Hell House. That's on my list of things to buy. But yeah, I love that idea as well. Them in this house, and Diavola is another one. I might do a video on that kind of genre. Anyway, that's a total side note. But yeah, so that's my last one. So let me know if you've read any of them and what you thought, and any recommendations on what I should read first. I am clearly overly excited about all of them. And can I read 2, 4, 6, 7 books at once? Anyway, have a wonderful rest of your day, wherever you are. Thank you for watching. Like I said, leave me a comment. Let me know if you've read them. Any recommendations are always welcome. And I will speak to you all very soon. Happy reading. Stay weird. Bye.